It's a bad time.
What's going on?
Ma, Mr. Doback, we think it would be very prudent.
Can we turn our beds into bunk beds?
Yes.
Why are you guys so sweaty?
What is up? Welcome into Adjust the Ranks, brought to you by the Double FU, the FU times 2, the fantasy football universe. Why are we so sweaty? Because it's hot as hell, at least over here in Amsterdam, pushing 30 degrees, which is roughly 90 degrees for you United States folks, but we certainly do not get these temperatures often over here in Amsterdam. So it's hot. That's why we're so sweaty. But hopefully with Ryan Prosick on the show, we're going to become best friends because we have for you a 12-team tiered PPR mock draft ready to go. Tiered PPR is there for you. So we'll discuss that before we begin. But just so you understand here, we are doing 30 mocks in 30 days, a part of the fantasy football universe. August mock extravaganza. We had our Reddit AMA the other day, so we're very thankful for that. We've had one of these mocks every single day since August 1st. So all of that is over on our YouTube, all of that, and it's in a playlist. All of that is over on Twitter, and it is listed on a thread, and it's pinned to the top of what we're doing over there. So Ryan's getting ready. As he is getting ready, a couple of orders of business for you. First of all, in the chat over here on YouTube, we have our Fantasy Football Universe Discord. You can go to any of these videos here that are a part of this playlist because it's linked below in each one of those as well, but it's also in the chat. Unfortunately, in the YouTube chat, you have to copy and paste. It is what it is. But if you want to do that, of course, Jesse Moeller, SC Romero, Dynasty Dogs, Rich and Mike, and then, of course, Spencer Buckley and myself are in there with about 60 other guys, just chatting ball, trades, dynasty values, rankings, start-sit decisions coming up for you. And of course, camp news, all of that is there for you. So if you're interested, please join us. Also, you're welcome to use our promo code FFU on Fast Draft, which I've heard is recently available now in New York. So if you're watching in New York is where I'm from. Yes, absolutely. Go on to Fast Draft. Check that out. A 100% first time deposit match of up to $25 if you use that promo code. That's FFU. Ryan is ready to go here. We're going to invite him. Jamie is ready to go here. Jamie is in the mock, which will fire it up when we're full. Ryan, welcome in. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great. I went to go turn on my light, my overhead lights, and I had them unplugged because I was gone for the weekend. So I hit the button and I started to scramble panic.
Listen, man. Hey, it happens, and it's all good. Thank you so much for joining us. Ryan's been on a few of these mock draft episodes. Jamie's been in these mock draft streets and been on the show before. So we got a lot of good guests, and we're about halfway full. So as we finish filling this mock, Ryan, why don't you give a little bit of insight to the people about your preferred approach here in a tiered PPR? And you see kind of those standard tiers listed below. That's 0.5 points per reception for running back, a full point for wide receiver, and 1.5 a tight end premium for tight ends. How do you like to approach the beginning of your draft?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like elite tight end is the move. We get Trey McBride, George Kittle, Brock Bowers. We were talking about them in normal drafts, but when you get the tiered PPR, that's just such a bonus on top of them. And I wanted to mention, I saw you were talking about fast draft. We should do a fast draft one of these days before the season. I think we could try it. We debate a little bit too much when we're on the clock, though. I mean, we go back and forth. We won't have the time on that site, but I think we should try it once or twice before the season starts. But yeah, elite tight end feels like the play here. I think they're going to be pushed up a little bit because receptions are just worth so much. And
yeah,
I kind of put a downgrade on those pass catching running backs, the CMCs of the world. He catches so many balls. Achan, him as well, and then receivers, you kind of just treat them the same. So if an elite wide receiver falls to me, I'll take him. But tight ends up, running backs down. It's obviously with the scoring format, but those guys, between the tackles like Josh Jacobs are going to get a boost as well because they're going to close the gap.
Yeah, 100%. And, we were just doing this yesterday with half PPR. Half PPR, of course, you're giving those running backs a boost. The Derrick Henrys of the world, as you mentioned, you have to take Derrick Henry in the first round. And I believe he did go in the first round, half PPR, if not the 201, 202. In tiered PPR, Derrick Henry's probably going to fall to the early second. It kind of depends, like you said, your feelings about those wide receivers at the top. Let me give you a couple of hypotheticals here as we have 3 spots left to fill. If you are watching along, you have to copy and paste it, but the link is in the YouTube chat for you with 3 spots left if you want to jump in. Ryan, let me give you a couple of this or that guys here at the back of the first, and I think you're at the back of the first. Where are you drafting from?
Let me check. I think the 110.
The 110. So at the 110, would you prefer, let's use Derrick Henry or Puka Nacua in this format?
I mean, it's got to be Derrick Henry. We talked about, we dabbled a little bit last show, but I feel like the concern has went up. The arrow has went up in 1 week for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
I guess those NFC West folks don't like to talk about injuries, honestly, with CMC last year with Kyle Shanahan, and then Puka Nacua as well last year. He missed a couple of weeks with that knee. I'm really out on Puka this year. I think Puka is a late second kind of guy. And so if I take him from the 110, it'll feel like a reach. And who knows what's going to happen.
I am the same on Puka, but I'm also the same on this guy. I wonder where you fall, Derrick Henry or Amon-Ra St. Brown in tiered PPR.
See, the Lions are a interesting prospect this season because, it's funny all the quotes they're getting in the preseason. Like, look at Jared Goff just threw this bad interception. And it's a different quarterback. And I think you got to go with Amon-Ra, but I really want to go Derrick Henry there because Jamison Williams is trending upward. Ben Johnson's gone. Sam Laporta probably going to have a bounce back year. You have the 2 running backs. It's just so crowded. And if Jared Goff struggles without Ben Johnson, I think it's going to be the running backs who eat the most.
Yeah. That's absolutely fair. Let's do another one. Let's go Derrick Henry and Brock Bowers. Are you reaching for Brock Bowers in this format, or are you kind of letting him fall?
200%. I'm reaching. I mean, I took him round 1 in our startup that we did, 2 months ago? That was a 1.75, but still 1.5 for a redraft season. It's a bonus that you need to take. And Geno Smith, he's getting a substantial QB upgrade. I mean, that's worlds apart from Aiden McConnell. So I think Geno is going to be the key for success for Brock Bowers this year. And that wide receiver room seems a little messy behind Jacoby Myers. That they can't really figure it out. Dante Thornton's been kind of impressing in camp. Jack Pesh has been kind of not impressing in camp. So it's a little shaky behind Jacoby Myers. So Brock Bowers is going to dominate in targets yet again.
Yep. Totally feel that. We have a question as we get ready to fire this thing up. Covering up your face for a second, Ryan. If you had a fourth pick in a Superflex draft, would you take Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, or someone like Chase or Bijan? So your top wide receiver, your top running back, or Burrow or Hurts, assuming that's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and of course, Jaden Daniels are off the board. Who do you like at 4 with those 3 QBs gone?
I'm going to need a little bit more information, honestly. If that's a 6-point per passing touchdown, I kind of swing for Joe Burrow. If it's 4, I say Jalen Hurts. I think that's kind of the divider there. I wouldn't hate going for Bijan or Jamar Chase, but those quarterbacks just dry up so quick.
They absolutely do. And speaking of drying up, the spots have dried up and we are full. So we are jumping in. We will answer this question in a moment. But once again, we're tiered PPR. Chase in pretty much every format is my 101. Just a couple of things here. Yes, Jamie, are tiered. You can see the tiers at the bottom. 0.5 per reception for running back, 1 point for wide receiver, and 1.5 for tight end. In fact, let me put that in the chat just so everyone.
Well, while you're at it, can you hit the volume as well in the sleeper?
Oh, yeah. Listen, thank you. I had this
it always sneaks up on you. It gets you every once in a while.
Well, you know what my issue is that, I'm going to let you riff for a second here, but my issue is that Sleeper or StreamYard stopped accepting the app that's on my computer as a viable stream. So now I have to do it from the website, which I'm just not familiar with. So Ryan, why don't you tell us who's been picked already and who you are picking here? 30 seconds.
Yeah, we have, Jamar, Bijan, CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs, the top 4, pretty standard. Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley at 108 feels a little late for my liking, and then Ashton Genty at 109. I've talked about it. I'm going to take advantage of this tiered PPR. I'm going Brock Bowers at 110.
Nice.
The Raiders are fantasy viable again. 2 first-round picks. Who would have saw that one coming in any amount of years? So
yeah,
the thing that stands out to me thus far is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley wasn't a pass catcher that much last year. At 108 in a tiered PPR league, it kind of doesn't make sense to me going behind some of these guys like Nico Collins, Christian McCaffrey. I love the flag plants. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for it. I'm just let my Eagles homerism shine through, you know?
A little hate for your boy. I don't understand it. But look, this is what we're dealing with in the first round. Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, CD Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. Don't hate it, don't love it, like Ryan was just talking about. Ashton Genty at the 1-9. Ryan takes Brock Bowers 110. Malik Neighbors 111. Aaron at the turn with Trey McBride and Puka Nacua, who we were just talking about, kind of avoiding those running backs. Don't mind it. Megatron at the 2-2 going Derrick Henry. This is what we were just discussing. Probably falls to the second round. And then, Ryan, you ended up with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Walk us through that over Achane, who should see a ton of targets, but like we're talking about here, targets were slightly less for running backs.
Yeah, it's the PPR lean. I mean, Miami's defense, Kader Kohou just suffered a knee injury at corner. They're extremely thin after trading Jalen Ramsey. They're going to have to throw the ball so many times this year. It's going to
disaster.
It's going to be ridiculous. I was writing an article, and I believe it's week 17. I could be messing this up. It's Bengals Dolphins.
Yeah.
I know it's week 16. My bad. It's the semifinals.
Nice. Love it.
That game might have 80 to 100 total points. So that's something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, I like Amon-Ra. He's going to get the targets. It's just hopefully the offense is as good, because if it takes a step back, he's not going to be worth the 203.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's more in that range regularly. And in tiered PPR, I'm really happy with where Amon-Ra goes there. We'll have to see where he ends up, but he's usually going higher. He went in the 106 to a drafter just yesterday in half PPR. So people are all over the map on Amon-Ra's value at the moment. I myself prefer the Jameson Williams value. I fade Laporta slightly fade Amon-Ra. He's still a stud. But yeah, that's kind of where I lean and end up. Looking at the board here, it's going to be really hard not to do this, so who cares? I'm going to do it anyway. Jackson Smith and Jigba at the 212 turn, passing up Lad McConkey. I do like JSN for Lad, but I'm not going to take Kittle because we'll see how far he falls, and I will go ahead and why not? We'll get Lad. Why not go 3 wide receivers and see how the build goes? This is typically how I prefer, and we'll go through the rosters here for us in a second once we finish the third round. For the second round, you have Puka Nacua from Aaron at the 2-1, Derrick Henry, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., Devon Achane, Drake London at the 2-6. I have the Drake London edit coming out either later today or tomorrow. My editing skills are getting very good. Chase Brown at the 2-7. Oh, it's way better. It's way better than the Achane video. I got to tell you. My son even said so I know it's good because he doesn't compliment me, unless he means it. Josh Jacobs with the 2-8, Bucky Irving 2-9, AJ Brown at the 2-10, Jonathan Taylor 2-11, JSN for me at the 2-12. Interesting values here all along, and you see the third round. Ryan, your pick is now with Amari and Hampton potentially sniped from you, but we are in tiered PPR, so you went with
wasn't
Lamar.
A snipe. I'll tell you that much. I was eyeing that elite QB in round 3. I mean,
nice.
I always get these starts in your drafts where I have the potential QB 1, tight end 1, and then I just completely punt running back into like the 8th round. I'm gonna pick a running back here probably. I hope, but the value is just so good on Lamar.
It is. Let's see what you do here. But before we talk about it, we'll talk about Jamie. Jamie's assuming there's a massive tight end premium. There's not. There's a standard tight end premium, Jamie. These guys going a little bit early, but certainly, for example, if you're Aaron at the turn, McBride's not going to fall to you at the third. If that's the guy you want there, look, I don't really have a problem with it at the turn there. I don't love it. I don't think I would personally do it. But look, I think Trey McBride's a beast and he's in for a monster season. You're in tight end premium league. Do what you got to do to get one of these top 3 guys. I almost pulled the trigger at the 3-1 for George Kittle. That felt a little bad for me as well. But yeah, it's all about navigating that premium and where you want the advantage. I think unless you get one of these top 3 guys, you're really just pressing your luck. An aging Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram on a new squad. I mean, everyone has their guy, but are they going to equal the production of these 3 guys? It's unlikely unless you can randomly hit on a Jonnu Smith. So that's something to consider there. 12-man, 4-point passing touchdown. Oh, this was from the earlier question, I think, about the Superflex draft.
Then it's
Yeah, let's run back to that just real quickly to finish this up. You like Hurts there as your 4th quarterback?
Yeah, I think the QB or the tush push, my bad. It's just so overpowered in fantasy because if Saquon or anyone gets down on the 1 or 2 yard line, you're getting 6 points from Jalen Hurts. So I'll take that. I mean, Burrow's great. He's going to have to throw a ton, but it's the 4 over the 6. It's a slight lean. I wouldn't hate if you win any of these guys. There's no wrong choice here.
Yeah, I'm personally a Burrow guy over Hurts just because I think he throws like 60 touchdowns this season. How can he not? But it is interesting to take a guy like Chase in that format. I generally, full PPR, I generally like to take Chase over those quarterbacks, and I'll just wait. If he's on the board, I'm going Chase or then Burrow. Ryan's going Hurts, so I'm not sure we helped you at all.
I mean, I wouldn't hate Jamar Chase either. Underdog had their super flex drafts, and very early on the ADP was different. But if you went wide receiver, and got a quarterback, like those were the fun builds where you went non-quarterback first while everyone was just chucking darts at the quarterback position. So you could have a fun build, but if it's like a home league, they might over prioritize wide receiver or quarterback. So you never know.
Speaking of over prioritizing wide receiver, that's what I'm doing in this draft.
Slipped up.
Man, I couldn't take Cortland Sutton over Jameson Williams in a full point PPR. I had to do that. But now I'm stuck with Connor, Montgomery, Mixon. There we go. Finally, look at this. It's early. I don't care.
That's not
Give
early.
me TreVeyon, Henderson. Look, it's tiered PPR. I'm not thrilled with Henderson over a guy like James Conner, for example, who is still on the board. But I also don't hate it. We know that Trey Benson is likely to eat into some of James Conner's workload. David Montgomery is the next guy up there at the running back position. He's got his question marks with his utilization. Will it continue to nosedive? And is he just a touchdown machine at this point in his career? The answer seems to be yes with the emergence of Jahmyr Gibbs. RJ Harvey is a question, but we don't know when he's truly going to emerge. Pacheco and Joe Mixon were the other options there for me. So give me TreVeyon Henderson. He's looked phenomenal. It's a little early for him, especially in tiered, but you know what? YOLO.
See, I've fallen into the trap again.
What do you got going?
I come on this show, I fall into a trap. I couldn't pass up the value on Marv. And I'm just gonna see what happens. I think DJ Moore could be, Caleb Williams' go-to guy in the slot, and he could rack up those receptions like Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
At 5'10", I can't pass it. Running back will have 100%. To wait.
Yeah. DJ Moore is definitely a value there. I almost took him at the 412. So that just shows you the value that he was. Tet would have been a nice consolation, but I have too many wide receivers. So this is an interesting conversation here, Ryan, since I just took my first running back. You don't have a running back yet. If you go early wide receiver, at least from the early part of the draft, I'm here at the 101. I love my wide receivers, but if you look at my roster here, TreVeyon Henderson, no tight end, no quarterback. I typically like to grab one of those early tight ends. I didn't get a chance to do that here. I'm not sure how I feel about my build. It's fine. I'm very happy with heavy wide receiver because I feel like we have a little bit of insulation from injury. However, we'll see TreVeyon Henderson as my one. We'll see who else kind of falls to me at running back, but it doesn't feel great. And you're here still without a running back.
We're going to push it.
We'll flip to your roster and tell us a little bit about your thought process, how you feel about it now, and then where you think you are going. If I can find you. What do you got?
I mean, I gotta take the value. I'm a value drafter. I'll trade for need later. I mean, Xavier Worthy probably should have gone. Looking at it, I don't know. I don't know how much higher he could have gone, but probably in the fifth somewhere. I'd take him over guys like Zay Flowers, Cortland Sutton. I mean, I forget what the date released was, but it was for Rashee Rice's hearing, so he's going to get disciplined. I mean, Xavier Worthy is going to be the go-to guy. They're going to start up Travis Kelce slow like always, and Xavier Worthy is going to have a ton of time to amass value, either in a trade or just scoring points for your fantasy team. So I love that pick. I probably would have win him over, like I said, Cortland Sutton, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, probably too. It's the wide receivers are getting pushed down pretty far in this draft.
Yeah.
And we're just snagging up all the value.
Well, but that's kind of my issue here as well, as I do something I don't love to do and go a little ugly at running back here. I don't mind the values of these players, but like you said, wide receivers getting pushed down, a lot of top heavy running backs. At the same time, I would love to grab that wide receiver value. Jalen Waddle, I cannot pass him up at the 6'12". If he fell to me and didn't get sniped at the 6'11", I would have taken him and just called it, basically hero RB from here on out. In this case, I'm not doing that. I love the value here of middle round running backs and wide receivers, and I'm happy to grab them up. Talk about value plays. Tony Pollard is the ultimate value right now with Tajay Spears hurt. The hope is that he's ready for week one. It does not appear, if you kind of read through the coach speak, it doesn't appear that they're planning on Tajay for week one. I think Pollard is probably going to have a couple weeks to himself in that backfield. And if you believe in Cam Ward, Tony Pollard really should have a nice first month or two of the season. And then Caleb Johnson with all of his workload. You went and took Tyrone Tracy ahead of Cam Scatterbo. Why don't you talk about Tyrone Tracy as your RB1? How does that feel?
Yeah, I don't feel good about it, I'll be honest. But, business decisions had to be made. It just feels like Cam Scatterbo, with how low he's in the depth chart, I know depth charts don't matter at this point in the season. And I could turn around and draft them both right now and hopefully get a starter, but I don't want the headache of deciding who to start each week.
Yeah.
The headache's not worth it. I'm going to bet on Jalen Warren, and, it's not a great bet considering the 0.5 PPR with what kind of player he is, but that's the point of the draft we're in right now. I mean, I could have taken Jordan Mason or Javonte Williams and hope they just take a lot of the workload, but Jalen Warren's going to be on the field, and when you're saying your RB2 spot is just going to be on the field, you're, maybe we punted a little too far, but I'm still liking it. I got to recover here.
Dude, this is the point of mock drafts. All right. We're trying to, and Mr. Magic, what is up? I see your stuff. I'll get to you in a second, but I'm on the clock. But this is kind of why we do it. But look, somebody fell to me and two guys fell to, ooh, this is going to be tough. All right, so the first guy I'm taking here is Tyler Warren. All right, he's an absolute smash for me at this point in the draft. I'm going to switch to all because Cam Scatterbo is available. But so is Ricky Pearsall. It's really tough for me because I have three running backs. I'm going to go Pearsall over Scatterbo for this season. I just think there's too many injuries happening in the 49ers land for me to really pass up on the potential number one target there. We'll see. As you can see in single quarterback, I'm without a quarterback, but TreVeyon Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jamar Chase, JSN, Tyler Warren as my tight end, Ladd, JMO, Caleb Johnson, and Ricky Pearsall. I'm very happy with the depth on this team. I do want to get myself another tight end a little bit later, just in case Warren has a quarterback problem. And then, of course, at quarterback, I'll probably need to smash two guys here in the last 3 rounds. What are you thinking about Warren and Pearsall specifically? Do you like those guys where they're going? Are they a little early for you, a little late? What do you think?
No, they feel like right on target. I mean, Debo maybe could argue because Terry McLaurin might hold out. Who knows what's going on there?
Yeah, true.
I'm going to take Javonte. I'm just going to gamble on the Cowboys backfield because that's what you have to do when you punt running back to the 7th round. I wouldn't advise doing that, but we're trying stuff. It's mock drafts. I won't have to see this team out in the regular season, thankfully, but I like what the teams behind you are doing. I like Ted McMillan, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle. That's a solid wide receiver room. He went Bijan, JT.
Oh, yeah. Agree with that, Mr. Brightside.
I love that. I love the the team behind him as well. CeeDee Lamb, Kyron Williams, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, James Conner, Aaron Jones. I mean, a lot of people are crushing this draft. So
love it. Got some sharp ones in here. Mr. Magic, let's get to you. What is up? Thanks for joining the show. Let's pull the banner off here for a minute. Hey, we can see Ryan's face. Mr. Magic asks, do we see Rashee Rice not getting suspended at all? In case you missed the news that came out a couple hours ago now, Rashee Rice is likely to play the first month of the season. That's because it is September 30th that his court date is set for.
I thought it was earlier. I had it wrong. I thought it was earlier than that.
I mean, they can't like do any of these appeals and stuff. So Ryan, why don't you pick here? Let me move the board up. But you can't, do any of these appeals, and we won't know for sure what he's planning to do and his legal team is going to do here. Sometimes we're at the behest of the courts. So really we're waiting, and the NFL is waiting to discipline Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice will play the first month of the season. Maybe then he is suspended, but now there's a bunch of conspiracy theorists out there saying, well, look at these 4 games. It's ridiculous. They do play your Eagles, Ryan, in one of those 4. I think it's the Chargers. I think there's another tough game in there as well. So what are you thinking about Rashee as I make my picks on the turn? Is he getting suspended? When? How long? What do you got?
I mean, I had the date wrong. I thought it said August 30th, so I messed that one up really good. I misread this morning, so that's on me. But it kind of makes my Xavier Worthy pick a little worse. I think he's going to play it out. I think you could try to delay the suspension into 26. And to the Rashee Rice drafters who didn't draft at the 2-3 turn and then bought the dip instead, congratulations, because it's probably going to work out in your favor. I think Rashee Rice is, going to play and going to play the whole season. I don't think he gets suspended this year, honestly. I know I just said he did like
crazy
25 minutes ago, but I thought the hearing date was not what it was.
I really think he does get suspended this year. I think it's going to happen. Mr. Magic is saying there's no point in suspending him until the beginning of next season. I don't know. I mean, what if he goes to jail? You know what I mean? Like,
that is true.
What if the evidence is overwhelming?
I think he already agreed to a probation though.
Yeah, like the weekends in jail sort of situation, or is that?
I haven't been keeping a close eye on this. Obviously, it slipped past me today, so I think he plays the whole year. And I know I just said he didn't, but like I said,
hey, kind of crazy to consider that we could have Rashee Rice for 17 games. Where did you say that he went in this draft? Did you see his value? I'm looking it up. 409.
That's smash.
Yeah. Listen, if he plays 17 games, yeah, absolutely. In fact, I would definitely want him over Devontae Adams with the Matt Stafford stuff. I want him over DK Metcalf. I will take him over J-Mo. I probably want him over Terry McLaurin, with Terry McLaurin not practicing still. Crazy stuff there. So, yeah, I'll take Rashee Rice there. The problem is I do think he gets suspended. That's baked into my cost. I'm not taking him minimum until the late 5th. So I'm not going to get Rashee Rice. It's just not going to happen for me. But we'll have to see how that all plays out. Let's get back into this mock because we are in the last round, and we're going to talk about this last round and the people, who are being taken here, and this running back love that we have to address as I wait for my last pick and double up on QB. Interesting decision here. So I'm going to ask you, Ryan, I'm going to let you make my final pick. We have Zach Ertz at tight end, keeping in mind I have Tyler Warren. Probably not going with him. But the choice that I'm going to give you is, would you prefer Mason Taylor, who I believe is healthy and practicing, or JJ McCarthy or A-Rich?
I mean, I think you got to gamble on quarterback with Fields there.
Yeah.
I like Mason Taylor. I like the stack, but I think you got to go with JJ McCarthy. Anthony Richardson, I mean, his odds were better to start after he broke one of his fingers in the preseason. I thought that was kind of crazy. I don't know what the sports books were doing there, but JJ McCarthy's a little struggling in camp, but we saw Justin Jefferson make every quarterback that he plays with look good. And JJ McCarthy is better than all of them. So I'm in on JJ McCarthy as a QB2, 12th round. Pretty solid value.
Yeah, I do not know why people are hating on JJ McCarthy. And don't worry, Jamie, I will trash your team in a minute, as is tradition. I can't do that. I can barely do that with Jamie's teams because he's such a good drafter. But in terms of JJ McCarthy here, look, I'm not buying into JJ McCarthy, the talent. I think he's good enough. I think he's probably rightfully valued where he was taken the NFL draft, which I believe was 12th a year ago. He didn't get on the field because he was injured. He's back. He's had a full off season now. But like you said, it's the weapons on the offense. It's the fact that the defense is good, and they were definitely better in the second half, but they still don't have like an exciting secondary. In fact, I believe it's the Patriots. There's a team in joint practices with them this week. I think it's the Patriots. And Efton Chisholm was absolutely tearing up that Vikings secondary. So it just goes to show you that Stephon Diggs as well. So anyone and everyone can get over on this Vikings secondary, which means that teams are potentially going to be in shootouts. It's the weapons in Minnesota. It's the lack of a real good secondary and linebacking core. And it's Kevin O'Connell. Really, I'm banking on Kevin O'Connell more than anything. I'm happy to take JJ and then Fields as well, especially with a onesie Tyler Warren. How are you feeling? Jamie says McCarthy sneaky top 10 upside. And we'll talk about Mr. Magic's debate here in a second. How are you feeling about JJ McCarthy in this Minnesota offense?
I feel good about it. I don't know about top 10 because it feels like every year we want to squeeze one of those late guys into the top 10, and it always happens.
Sure.
But this year it feels a little more crowded because you got the top 6-7 guys locked in. You could probably lock in Baker to a top 10 finish again with how much he's going to be throwing the football in Tampa.
Yep.
And then you just have everyone else competing for slots 8 and 9, 8, 9, and 10. It's difficult, but he does have the upside, especially with Justin Jefferson. You know, even though he is a little injured right now, he's going to play.
A little bit.
It's just too little spots, too many players. But if he finished the season as quarterback 7 or 8, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest, especially if he starts running around behind that Minnesota offensive line.
Yeah, and I think he will. He's got sneaky rushing upside. He's like Baker rushing upside. I think he can get that pretty easily if they allow him to run, if he has to run, because like you said, maybe JJ's a little nicked up. Maybe TJ Hawkinson takes his time. Jordan Addison, of course, suspended. So maybe JJ's running for his life a little bit more around that rebuilt Minnesota offensive line than we expect. So I'm happy to take him there in the 12th. Let's get to some of these questions, especially Mr. Magic's here. Debating CMC at the 105. Jamie took CMC at the 202 yesterday. That's really the question. You can take him at the 105. The question is, will he fall to the 207? Probably not, but will he fall to the early second round? I've seen it before. Ideally, you want him in the back end of the first for that insane value. But the question is, would you take him at the 105 to build around him in a start 7 format? So really not too many starters there, shallow starters as well. What are you thinking about CMC and how early would you take him?
I'd say 6. I disagree with 5. I'm sticking to my tier. I'm sticking to my tier of Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Saquon Barkley.
Agree.
I think you got to take one of them. They have the same upside as CMC, but they can anchor your roster as well. I mean, I'd take Saquon Barkley 20 times out of 20 times over Christian McCaffrey, just with what we saw last season. I mean, Landon Dickerson did get hurt, and who knows, we didn't get a clear timetable on him, but it looks like he avoided, major injury, but it still could be out for the season. There's still a possibility there. But Jahmyr Gibbs just has such a safe floor with how much he plays in Detroit. I know Montgomery's there as well, but we saw what happens when David Montgomery goes down. Jahmyr Gibbs is the 101 if David Montgomery ever misses time.
100%.
And then CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase are getting so many targets. It's just ridiculous.
And so it's all about mitigating risk. CMC injured last year. Saquon was not. We saw what he did, one of the greatest RB seasons of all time. But of course, Christian McCaffrey has had about 3 of those. So the question is, who gets injured and where does that risk lie? For myself, I agree with you. I prefer Saquon over CMC, but it's so close. And there may be a little bit of recency bias because of these injuries. The thing is, Saquon's damn good on the best offense in football. So I think that's the difference here. I don't think you're seeing San Francisco reach into that upper echelon of top 3 offenses like they were a couple of years ago when CMC was there. If everybody's healthy and they're really grooving, they could get to top 6, top 8, but they're not top 3. I think Philly's clearly top 3.
Yeah, it's the offensive line that's holding San Francisco back. They only have Trent Williams, and he's starting to regress because he's getting up there in age.
Yeah,
that's the separator for me. I mean, even with Landon Dickerson hurt, Philly still has 2 top 5 tackles. I'd say top 3 tackles in football with Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. It's just he's going to get more opportunities in Philly, and it stinks that he doesn't get those carries on the one because he would have had the best running back season ever if they just gave him the ball on the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
You'd have I think it was 25, 26, some touchdowns. So, I mean, the ceiling's there. I mean, it's just so difficult to make a pick between these two, but I'm going Barkley all day.
Well, and here's the other thing with Barkley is that team was not, I mean, also we're talking about tiered PPR in this case, right? We're valuing rushes a little bit more than we would normally in a full PPR, and in that consideration, I'm also taking Saquon simply because that Philly defense is still damn good, right? It's one of the best defenses in the league. It's the reason they won the Super Bowl, right? So if you're looking at San Francisco, that San Francisco defense is also not what they once were. The Niners offense and offensive line, they're not as deep as they were. Everybody's injured on the offensive side of the football as well, except for Kittle and CMC right now, the most injury prone guys. I think everyone in San Francisco needs to go get that stem cell treatment so they can figure it out there. But look, we don't know for sure. Obviously, if CMC is healthy and, is prime, he could be the 101 for sure. But I like the safety. And that's really what we're talking about. The feeling, I guess, of safety here between those two backs. Ryan, let's go through now the draft here because we talked a little bit too much about these guys. But let's talk about guys at the bottom. We talked about JJ McCarthy, but let's stick with running back. And let's talk about the last few rounds. First, I'm going to go with rounds 11 and 12. I'll read off the names from the 1101 through the rest of the draft. We got Dylan Sampson at the 1101, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, that's all in the 11th. And in the 12th, Nick Chubb, Tajay Spears, who's currently injured, but potentially not for long, Trey Benson, Rashad White, and Jaden Blue. Who do you prefer the most out of these guys? And maybe give me your top 3. Who do you like at the end of drafts?
I'd say Dylan Sampson's probably my most preferred guy. We don't know what's going to happen with Quinshon Judkins. That whole, dismissal and everything is just really messy, and he hasn't signed his rookie deal yet. I think he's the only one, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's going to play this year. If he doesn't play, Dylan Sampson's going to get a lot of looks. It's going to be on a very bad offense, though. I mean, Shador looked great in week 1 of the preseason, but you got to count as week 1 of the preseason. I think Dylan Sampson can be the workhorse there. And if he is the 11th round, you're getting value no matter what, even if he provides a flex, ceiling and floor each week as the starter with 9 to 10 points in full PPR. So he's my highest. I'd say Tajay Spears second. I think he's going to come back. I know the high ankle sprain is going to stink, but 12th round, when he comes back, he's going to have a lot of value, and he's going to eat into Tony Pollard's touches immediately. And then I'm going to go Trey Benson because the coach speak. It's all there. James Conner's been talking about 50-50. Yep. If it's anything close to 50-50 and he looks like he did at FSU, 12th round is going to be a steal.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And James Conner may be on his last legs. He seems to be ever much the Terminator, as his name suggests, and this guy won't die. But Trey Benson kind of hopes that he falls off a little bit so that he can continue to eat into a piece of the pie. And so does Ryan. He took him here in the 12th. Ryan, let's go through our teams here and talk a little bit about how we ended up and how we're feeling about ours. I'll let you go first. I'll read through your list and just let us know your thoughts. And maybe if you do anything differently, you can kind of run down the list. You got Bowers, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second from the 110 spot, Lamar Jackson, Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore, Xavier Worthy. Your running backs, Tyrone Tracy, Jalen Warren, and Javonte Williams, followed by Colston Loveland as your second tight end. Keenan Allen, who is buried in ADP still, so you got to scroll to find him. That's a good find in the 11th round. And Trey Benson at the 1203. Tell us about it, Ryan.
I mean, what I wish I would have done differently is probably take Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, or Marvin Harrison. I saw the flashing sign with Marvin Harrison as the value drop. He's been usually going, early third. Yeah. I saw him in the early fourth here, and I just had to do it. And then it just kind of spiraled on me. I was hoping RJ Harvey would make it to the 5'10", and that probably would have made me feel better about my draft. I'm still okay with it. It's going to require a trade for a running back, but Lamar and Brock Bowers in this format are going to carry you through so many weeks. It's probably not going to matter all that much. And then Xavier Worthy, DJ Moore, it's just, find flex plays that have weekly upside depending on, what happens with Rashee Rice and then how Ben Johnson's offense shakes out. And they could have high-end wide receiver 2 upside on basically any week. And then I want more of that Bears offense. I went back to Colston Loveland, top 10 draft pick. Ben Johnson's going to scheme for him. His yards per route run were incredible during his time at college. The profile is great. And then Keenan Allen is, he was one of the bets we were making in the offseason of where he was going to sign, and he lands in the perfect spot. I mean, Trey Harris is probably not going to produce much in his rookie season. No. Keenan Allen's going to come right in. We saw he could take, multiple targets. We saw that Thanksgiving game where Caleb Williams just continued to pepper him. We saw it in Seattle as well. It wasn't as pretty in Seattle. I think that was the only game last year without a touchdown. That was in a primetime window. I think he could have weekly flex value as well. I think that's the ceiling, though. Expecting the Keenan Allen of old is just foolish, but
agree.
He's got chemistry with Justin Herbert, and we'll see that in display this season.
Yeah. One thing I do want to show about Keenan Allen and why you should consider him around this range in drafts. We'll take you to the 2024 game logs. Of course, he had injury, but look when he's in there and playing. He has some down weeks, of course, where he's got 11 targets, 4 for 29, 3 for 19. But once he got it going, 5 for 41 and 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville. 15 targets, 9 for 86 and 1. This was after Shane Waldron left, by the way. So you see the spike here for Allen.
It's ridiculous.
5 for 73 and 2, 6 for 82 and 1 on 13 targets. Another 13 targets, 9 for 141 and 1. Keenan Allen still has it. And I think now he goes to a super functional team that knows who they are and what they were missing. And you got Ladd kind of opposite him as well. I think these two guys are going to operate opposite each other in the slot. They're going to switch in and out. I think Keelan needs to live in the slot. That's really what you like about this offense. They're not going to pass it a ton, but when they do, it's Keenan Allen, it's Ladd McConkey, and it's probably nobody else. Jamie says he's just a glorified cheerleader, Jamie. Vehemently disagree. Ryan, what would you give your squad? What grade would you give them? And, who would you replace Marvin Harrison with? Pick one.
I'd probably say Chuba Hubbard at this point.
Okay.
I'm in on Carolina this season. I think Bryce Young's going to be fantastic. I think the line played great with all their free agent additions. Defense is still not going to be there yet. It's missing a couple of pieces. So I'd probably take Chuba over him. It's just the value fell that way. I'd probably give myself a B because I really like my first 3 rounds.
Yep.
Brock Bowers, Lamar Jackson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're getting 3 potential number 1 overall finishers at their position. Amon-Ra is probably the least likely to do it of the 3. But Brock Bowers and Lamar Jackson have such a great opportunity to do it. So I'd probably switch out one of those guys for running back later. Like I said, RJ Harvey was the guy I was looking at, and I got sniped. What can you do about it? But I think a B is a fair grade.
It's also the late value that you got. If you look at your bench here on the roster, you got Javonte Williams, Colston Loveland, Keenan Allen, and Trey Benson. That is a nice upside bench right there. Of course, you'd ideally love to plug Colston Loveland into one of those flex spots and play 2 tight ends at once, assuming he is getting the volume. But really, he's more insurance. Javonte, Trey Benson, those are guys you're hoping in your almost 0 RB build, because I think your first pick was in the 7th round. Tracy Warren, Javonte, and Trey Benson. That's really where you're going to have to get creative. But as we know, running back is the most replaceable position, both in the NFL and on your fantasy teams, because guys come along the wire all the time. Yeah. Let's answer this question here. We got 2, one from Mr. Magic and one from Jamie. Mr. Magic says, and this goes for me, Trey Henderson here. Who am I taking? Who wouldn't I take over TreVeyon Henderson? So look, first of all, I reached a little on TreVeyon Henderson. 5'1" is not his ADP. He's typically going mid to late 5th round. So James Conner, I think I've seen him go over TreVeyon Henderson a ton. David Montgomery is kind of that borderline guy who you might see him go. Joe Mixon sometimes goes a little earlier, but now everybody's seemingly more wary of his injury situation. RJ Harvey is kind of that guy where you see sometimes he goes behind Henderson, sometimes he goes ahead of Henderson. But look, Henderson's got the hype. I'm a little bit of a homer too, because full disclosure, Mr. Magic, I'm a big Pats fan. TreVeyon Henderson is just exciting. I mean, he was pretty much everyone's RB3 throughout the process. He was pushing RB2 for me with Hampton, but he did end up my RB3 out of the rookie backs. It's a little early, but damn, I just wanted Trey Henderson. In the 5th, I take Jameson Williams, but I take TreVeyon Henderson as, if Williams is gone, no matter where I am in the 5th. Who are you comfortable with? First of all, are you comfortable with TreVeyon Henderson where he went? And then would you take any of the guys who went after him ahead of him?
I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think James Conner, like the timeshare of Trey Benson, could cut into that. David Montgomery's already in a timeshare. Who knows how RJ Harvey's role is going to shake out? DeAndre Swift might lose the job. Tony Pollard you picked as well. He's probably going to be great for the first 3-4 weeks while Tajay Spears rehabs, but then who knows? So I'm perfectly okay with 501. I mean, they're going to use Ramondre. It's pretty clear with how they used him in the preseason. Yeah. He's going to be on the field still.
For sure.
But TreVeyon Henderson with that kick return just upped his stock by like 30 rounds.
He
hoping for a discount. You saw that kick return. It's just cooked there. But I'm perfectly fine with that spot. I probably wouldn't take him over the guys before him, though, with Ken Walker, Chuba Hubbard, Breece Hall. I mean, Breece Hall is where I kind of start to think about it a little bit, because the Braylon Allen hype it's getting a little too loud for me, if I'm being honest.
It is.
You can't ignore it when it comes to a point, and it's come to that point and it's past it already. So
yeah,
I think Breece Hall is the one where I'm iffy, and then everyone else before him is rightly before him. So I think TreVeyon Henderson's going right where he should.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't take Breece Hall. Like you said, I take Chuba or Ken Walker in that spot. I was taking Devontae Adams in that spot, but I think he's going late 4th, early 5th is right where I'm comfortable taking him now with Matt Stafford and that influx. But yeah, I take Hubbard and Walker over Hall. So I'm just not going to get Breece Hall. I'm okay with that. TreVeyon Henderson, I reached on him. But let's see how it all turned out here. And I'll just run through my squad quickly if I know how to use this damn desktop from Sleeper. All right, here we are. So I ended up with Justin Fields, TreVeyon Henderson, Tony Pollard. So not super strong at running back, but not totally weak. Jamar Chase, JSN, Tyler Warren, Lab McConkey, Jameson Williams, Caleb Johnson, Ricky Pearsall, Dylan Sampson, and JJ McCarthy. One of the things I'm not really happy with is my lack of a high upside tight end or quarterback. I really want to grab one of those two. But certainly George Kittle, I would have had to take it to 301. That's too far for me. I could have had my pick of the top quarterbacks. I could have went Allen. Jackson probably is my number 1. Jaden Daniels I always flirt with in redraft, but he's more my dynasty 101. Lamar Jackson I could have had on this team, and that I would have felt a lot better with this team if I had Lamar at the 3-1, which is totally appropriate value, and then still followed up with Fields. But I didn't have to follow up with Fields. I could have grabbed an upside guy in the 10th, like a Keon Coleman, like a Jake Ferguson, perhaps, or Rashid Shaheed. Those guys are interesting to me and would kind of potentially make me feel better about this team. Overall, I give myself a B as well. The running backs I'm not super happy with, but happy enough, hoping those 4 top running wide receivers, those 4 wide receivers at the top can carry me through.
I agree with you. I mean, it would have been nice to have one of those high upside guys, but you're so deep at wide receiver that you don't have to worry about it at all this season. Running back, if Caleb Johnson wins that job, you're secure there as well. And then you have 2 bets at quarterback, which I really like because odds are one of them is going to be good for you on a weekly basis. Hopefully.
Let's hope.
If not, my underdog season's kind of cooked, but
we'll hope so. Dynasty question: Roman Wilson or Isaac? Don't call me Teslaa of the Detroit Lions. This one's easy for me. I think it's easy for you too.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know what you're going to say already before you say it because I'll take it's Teslaa. I'll take the guy who is on the field. I know preseason you could overreact a little bit, but he looks good out there, and
he looks really good.
Roman Wilson didn't touch the field in his rookie season. I know the injury was kind of on and off, and then who knows what happened. I'm going to take Teslaa pretty easily. I think if he gets on the field, he's going to earn targets.
Yeah.
So good football players do. I mean, he's no Puka Nacua. I saw that comp thrown around a couple of times. I couldn't agree less with that. But if he's like a flex play some weeks, I'm perfectly happy with what I invested in, which was either undrafted or a 4th-round rookie pick. And if he gave you any value on your starting roster at all, any weeks of the season, I'm taking it. And he's a great handcuff for if, Jamo or Allen ever happen to go down because he'll start getting looks then.
Yep. But let's be clear, right? We don't really expect these guys to play much at all this year. I think it's a dynasty play. I liked Roman Wilson coming out. I used a couple of late 2nd-round picks on him, which I'm regretting, of course, now.
We'll have our late second stories, right?
but listen, like Aaron Rodgers is likely gone after this year. I don't think Pittsburgh, as much as they're trying to kind of sell those tickets and say they're making a run, I don't think Pittsburgh has any chance of doing anything in the AFC this season. So Roman Wilson, is going to go through a new quarterback change, next year. And then is he going to be able to develop into the guy? DK Metcalf is there. Calvin Austin, I think, has the upper hand still and is going to be somebody there who kind of pushes Roman Wilson even more. He's not a complete guy. I think Roman's a little more complete, but Austin has that bursty speed. And yeah, if you're talking about a taxi spot in Dynasty in the 20th round, give me the rookie, Jamie. Give me the rookie.
I want to rip off for a second. I know this is a Dynasty podcast, but legitimately, what are the Steelers going to do? Like, they should have thrown in the towel so many years ago.
Agree.
Because I just want to say for a quick second, the quarterback class next year isn't looking that great. And the Browns and Rams have 2 first-round picks to position themselves to get whoever they want. So it's looking messy for the Steelers, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think Steelers, Browns, whenever you're talking about those guys, it's not looking too good. I believe the Browns are Jamie's team. So that's a transition from ripping on the Browns to ripping on Jamie's
Jacksonville
team.
Could be bad. So at least they're in a position to maneuver themselves for a quarterback next year. The Pittsburgh's just not in position at all to do it. And the Rams and Browns could easily jump them with their draft capital. So
yeah,
I don't know what they're doing, but they'll be a fun TV watch this season.
Let's look at Jamie from the 105. Big game, James. Justin Jefferson, hard to argue with that. Josh Jacobs, can't argue with that. George Kittle at the 3.5. I love the value. He can sometimes fall to the very early 4th. Do not let him get him in the 3rd. Kenneth Walker at the 4.8. Phenomenal value there. All he needs to do is stay healthy. Cortland Sutton, who I almost took at the 4.12, felt too early. I wouldn't take him over Tet. I didn't see Tet on the board. But I do like his value there before Zay, before Devonta Smith in redraft for sure. DeAndre Swift, love it. You mentioned earlier, Ryan, that he could lose his job. He could, but he could just hold the job for the whole season. If he does, he's hyper valuable there and going, one of the last guys that you can get here in the mid round where you feel really good about him in your RB2 slot. And Jamie here has him as an RB3. Brian Robinson, not the biggest fan there, but Brian Robinson is another super consistent guy. He's got the job for now. Let's hope he does. And one of the best offenses in the league. Juwan Jennings, Jordan Mason, love Mason. Jennings hurt, but love him if he's healthy. Michael Pittman, the value is crazy. Can he produce? We shall see. At least he's healthy now. CJ Stroud and Hunter Henry. Not a fan of Henry. Stroud you got late. Not a huge fan of Stroud. I'm personally going to go for Jordan Love. Caleb even, or JJ McCarthy over Stroud, but I don't hate that. Jamie's team gets a better grade than my team for me. I like it as a B plus, potentially an A minus. He got a lot of guys at the top that I absolutely love. What are you thinking?
I tend to agree with the B plus, A minus. He's a training camp hype injury discount buyer. That's what it looks like.
As we all are, right?
Krosky Merritt earning all the hype in Washington, Kyle Monungai in Chicago, Jawan Jennings injured, Michael Pittman with A-Rich. Like, he just bought the discounts on all of these guys and just scooped them all up. And if they hit even their median outcome, he's probably looking at a league-winning team if his first 3 picks come through. So
100%.
I like it a lot. B plus, A minus. I probably would have taken Tyrone Tracy over Brian Robinson, but I could be wrong there. It's a coin flip either way. Brian Robinson got the later drafted guy as well, so I'm totally fine with that. I like the team a lot. I'm guessing he wishes Diggs or Ibuka would have slid to him instead of Jennings, and I probably would have gave this draft an A if one of those guys made it to him in the 8th round. I know I'm nitpicking here, but I think that would have gave that draft an A.
Yeah. Love that. Love Ibuka. His value right now is insane. Go get him. Chris Godwin has gone first in every single draft over Ibuka. We don't know when Chris Godwin's going to see the field again. Get yourself a Mecca Ibuka. Let's do 2 more things. The first of which, as I want to continue to talk about this, I'm doing this in pretty much every single one of these mock pod shows. I want to talk about what happens when you take early quarterback and early tight end. Yes, if you have shallow starting rosters where you're starting 7 or 8 guys, I think we had 8 in this particular mock draft. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have issues with your bench, but how much does that matter over the course of the season versus the value that you're able to get? It's all how you navigate it. Here we have 2 teams. Ryan's is one of them, so happy to have that. We have Aaron's team, which was team 12, which has another one. If you look at Ryan's team, Bowers and Lamar Jackson, but had to wait on running back, right? Because you have to pick one position really to wait on. Waited on running back, ended up with Tyrone Tracy, Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, and Trey Benson. We are taking the upside, but hoping on all those guys. None of those guys, other than Javonte, is a projected starter, and we're not even sure about Javonte. If you look at Aaron's team, he did the same thing, waited on running back at the 12, Isaiah Pacheco at the 6-1, Travis Etienne, love that value at the 7-12, Zach Charbonnet and Nick Chubb, again, hoping on Chubb. Charbonnet is good in a pinch. Etienne, we're hoping Bigsby doesn't take over, but at least Etienne has the passing game role. And then Isaiah Pacheco healthy. So this is what you're dealing with if you take both a quarterback and a tight end early. What are you thinking, Ryan, about this strategy, even with shallow starting rosters here? Just 2 flexes, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and then the singletons. How do you feel about it?
I like it a lot. You want to maximize your weekly upside, and doing so, you're drafting these guys that are going to score more points over average than, Lamar Jackson over Justin Fields or Brock Bowers over, say, a Jonnu Smith type. Like, you're going to get more points against the field that way than if you were drafting a wide receiver because it's just so crowded there. True. So you want the cream of the crop, and I think it works out best because if these guys produce like fantasy studs, they're probably going to be on one of the highest lists of teams going to the playoffs and teams in the championships because they're just going to give you that much of an advantage over everyone else. Like Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, it's fine, but I'd rather take the top guys like Kittle, McBride, and Bowers to guarantee that upside and guarantee that weekly floor because Sam Laporta is usually touchdown or bust. Mark Andrews is the same thing. Travis Kelce, he might get to that point this season. So I'd rather take the guys that get a ton of targets, and those top 3 are the target getters.
I agree with you, but let's do this. Let's go back to Jamie's team because Jamie waited on quarterback, ended up with Stroud, but you can plug in your late quarterback of choice there. Justin Jefferson, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Cortland Sutton, DeAndre Swift as your top 6. I kind of like the upside there of those 6 guys with Kittle as opposed to if you're looking at your 5th and 6th round pick, DJ Moore and Xavier Worthy, Travis Hunter and Isaiah Pacheco, these are good players, but I just think that there's more question marks there. Cortland Sutton and DeAndre Swift, for me, fewer question marks. So I feel like it gives you a little bit more depth. Do you prefer the depth or you just think the shallow starting roster is not necessary? to go that
It's
route.
not necessary. There's going to be guys that weren't drafted in the first 12 rounds on the waiver wire, and you'll be able to scoop them because waiver wire is one of the most essential things. I mean, we got Bucky Irving last year. Bucky Irving powered everyone to a championship. So these guys are out there. I remember Alvin Kamara's rookie year was the same way, where he had that monster game in week 2 or week 3, and then he won the starting job, was a PPR monster, and never looked back. So these guys are out there at these positions. So, maybe Trey Benson doesn't get the workload and you could drop him right away, or Keenan Allen doesn't play as much and Trey Harris actually wins the job. You could drop him and pick up these guys on waivers and acquire depth that way. So throw darts to the dartboard, but don't be afraid to take the darts off the dartboard.
I love that. Let's talk finally about guys who weren't drafted. I do not think I can show you because of the way Sleeper wants me to convert this to a league. No, thank you.
Heck yeah.
Because of the way the desktop operates, but I have it here on my phone. At the top of the list of undrafted, do you know who it is, Ryan? It's my guy.
Is it your guy? Is it Zach Ertz?
No, Zach Ertz is second to Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby undrafted in this 12-round mock. That's a mistake, people. Don't make that mistake. Ertz, Cam Ward, Christian Kirk, Austin Eckler, Kyle Williams, Rashad Bateman. You got Bashal Tutin. You got Adam Thielen and Hunter Renfrow. You got Trevor Lawrence. You got the guy you mentioned earlier, Deontay Thornton, Penix, Braylon Allen, Elijah Arroyo.
Braylon Allen might be a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us about Braylon Allen, about Tank Bigsby, about Pop Douglas. There's a lot of value here in the later rounds if you know where to look.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, Braylon Allen could be the starter. I can't believe we've gotten to that point of hype. It's kind of funny with him because remember him coming into the, into college in Wisconsin his first 2 years, he was the guy. Like, you looked at his frame, you looked at his numbers, you looked at everything, and everyone was like, oh, RB1. Sure 5%. And then he goes in, late rounds of the draft, and then it's back down the slope. And now we're back up that he's going to win the starting job, maybe. So there's so much value out there. Tank Bigsby's the same way. I don't think either of these guys are going to be starters, but with the potential, you have to pick them up. They're worth roster spots. Wide receiver is probably a little shallow. I agree with that. Breece Hall should get traded, but
he should be. We'll see what happens.
Aaron Glenn wants that committee so bad. I mean, can you think of Breece Hall, the Cowboys, how monsters that would be?
100%. For Breece, for that Cowboys team, that's really where it needs to go. The Texans is also a really interesting choice.
Texans a good shout.
One of those two teams, especially because the Jets aren't going anywhere. They got two nice young backs. Let's not discount Isaiah Davis and how good he looked from the combine on. I mean, even from college, right? Where he was a jackrabbit, so I don't even remember what college that was. I just remember his helmet. Was it like somewhere in Arizona?
It's one of the Dakotas. Is South Dakota.
Oh, yeah. North Dakota.
North Dakota is the Bison, and South Dakota is the Jackrabbits. Because I know.
Anyway,
I only know that because Dallas Goedert played for South Dakota. That's the only reason I know that.
And I only know he was a jackrabbit because I looked it up a long time ago and just remembered that logo. And I was like, I did not know that was a team. Anyway, Isaiah Davis has looked phenomenal once people found out who he was, and at every step and every stage. So will Breece Hall get traded? Potentially. Ryan, I'm going to put you to the test here to do a little research for me quickly as we wrap this up. Jamie says, did you see the Quinshon Judkins news? He's going to post it here, so I'm going to cover your face with his long post if you could get some details here. Jamie says Cleveland Browns RB Quinshon Judkins will not face any formal charges from the alleged incident in South Florida. Prosecutors have declined to move forward with the case. If that's the case, Quinshon Judkins should sign immediately. Dylan Sampson is dead. In the 11th round, he's not a terrible value. I mean, they said they wanted to get him on the field to catch passes long before and line him up at a wide receiver long before the Quinshon Judkins news broke. So I don't hate Dylan Sampson late anymore. But I'm not taking him over a guy like Trey Benson. Certainly he'll bump down a couple rounds to me. And then Quinshon Judkins, where he's going at the 702, is a massive value. Ryan, were you able to find anything on Quinshon Judkins?
Yeah, I was looking, and it's a verified report that the prosecutors have declined to move forward and that a return should likely be soon. So I remember I said Dylan Sampson was one of my favorite picks in the late rounds like 20 minutes ago. I did the same thing with Rashee Rice because I read the date wrong. It's a Thursday for sure. But I mean, as for Judkins, I think where you should put him right now, looking at this board, I would say right where I took DJ Moore, I'd probably take him there, especially with the team build. But even without the team build, I'd probably put him before Montgomery and after Connor.
So give us a range. So that is the 5.
He might go up further in this format, though, but I'm just
Mid-fifth.
talking in general. I think he's
Mid-fifth.
above Henderson in this format because Henderson's, big thing is catching passes.
Agree.
The 0.5. So I'd say end of the 4th in this format.
End of the 4th. Yeah. And to be fair, he was going that long ago, but we didn't have solidified ADP. Quinshon Judkins in the late 4th. You've heard it here first. Breaking news on Quinshon Judkins. Andy Slater posted it on Twitter. Schefter, nothing from Schefter yet.
Jordan Schultz reported it, so it happened. So
if you have a draft tonight, draft Quinshon Judkins he's going in the 7th. Where is he going right now exactly? 702.
7-2 in a format that favors him as well.
Take him in the 6th and profit. Reach in the 5th if you want. Hope that the rest of your league mates have not seen this news. But anyway, that's going to do it for us here. We are Adjust the Ranks, a part of the FU, the FU times 2, the fantasy football universe. Thank you so much for joining us. A couple of bits of business. First of all, we have a Discord. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description. Join us, talk ball. We are there daily. Also, if you want to play Fast Draft, if you're in New York, you can now play Fast Draft. Many of the places in the states can do that. If your state allows it, use promo code FFU for a 100% first-time deposit match of up to $25. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Ryan is always in the streets. He's on the show weekly at this point. Ryan, tell the people where they can find all your work.
Yeah, I'll be writing for Fantrax and, of course, the league winners with Thomas this year. I'll be writing about the Eagles. Hopefully they follow up another Super Bowl. I'm getting a little greedy here, but I'll be writing about DFS for Fantrax. So, and, I'll probably be here, and I'll be in the Discord as well, talking ball. And been inactive recently, but the season's starting to ramp up again, and everyone's starting to get active, and people are starting to trade again and talk about who's drafting who where. So check out the Fantasy Football Universe Discord. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir. You need that start-sit advice. We are here daily, pretty much soon ramping up, but we're here daily right now, mocking like this. If you like this content and want to jump into a mock draft, please follow, subscribe. You can join us on YouTube. You can join us on Twitter, which is where this is going live. But you can also watch the previous shows. Find your exact draft because we're doing all sorts of different types of mocks for you. We got to get a guillotine in here as well. Not going to do an auction. Unlikely, maybe at the end if I get a little experimental, but we've done the ESPN platform, Yahoo platform, got to do CBS as well. We're always on Sleeper. So everything to help prepare you for your upcoming drafts in your league. So thanks again for joining us, Ryan. We appreciate you. Any last words, sir?
We're just so close to the season. I can't believe it. We're less than a month away. It feels like it's amazing. So I'm so ready for football to come back.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Mr. Magic. Thank you, everybody else, for watching. This has been Adjust the Ranks, a part of the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Jeremy Schulman. This guy, I think I usually point the wrong way when
you got it. You got it right
renders.
This time.
That whatever that guy is, wherever he is, that's Ryan.
So confusing.
We say bye-bye, so long, see you later, take it easy, be cool, hang in there. You know what my favorite one is? Don't get run over. Well, some people need practical advice,